Hi, this is India Leigh, and this is the Speaking Spirit podcast. This episode is a really fun conversation with Jaci Lund, and Jaci is just such a magician when it comes to helping businesses show what they're about. And so this is a conversation that comes with a really cool announcement. Because Jaci and I are going to be working together on some projects that will help. If you're someone who has a business, if you're someone who works with a business, and that business is centered around something that really is about consciousness, that is about doing things in a next level kind of way, in a higher way than maybe the old paradigm, then this partnership between me and Jaci and Treebird Branding, which is her company, is really going to be what it's all about. And bringing out the intuitive gifts in that work, because you don't have to be a full-time, reader, psychic, and all immersed in the spiritual world like that in order to be intuitive in your work. You certainly don't. And when you're doing something with passion, when you're doing something that you know is part of your soul purpose, that is doing intuitive work, no matter what it is. So that's what this episode is about. So enjoy, and we'll just dive right into the conversation. Feeling good, and I was just studying the Eight of Pentacles card, which is about following each step as you move forward and looking in the direction that you're going, but not projecting into, why am I not there? Why am I not there? Sort of like taking this step and savoring this step is what we're being asked to do now. It's kind of,
that's like what we're talking about.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that goes into this beautifully, because it is about bringing that awareness into your work, into what you're offering people, the awareness that this is what we're doing right now, and let's bring every bit of consciousness and resources and support and all the stuff we're getting into this that we're doing, rather than letting the mind pull us forward into agendas about what's going to happen, or I think things should look like this, or I think things should look like that. And I'm wondering, when you're working with your clients and you're working with people who are coming to you ready to bring what they're doing to the next level, ready to present what they do in a new way, sort of ready to do like a glow up, of their business online. And that's the attitude they're in. How do you help them to integrate all those things about so that they're not taking parts of themselves and putting them away in the closet and saying, nobody needs to see that? Because I noticed you helped me with that. It was like, I see this, let's bring that out to the front. And it's stuff that maybe that client never would think to do for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different ways, because it depends on it really depends on the client and where they're at. Some clients are really ready to go. They're gung-ho and we're feeling good. And then there's like a hard block because there's something going on within that they can't make the final decision. They don't want to make the final decision. Maybe this is something that they've been holding really precious to them, and the idea of putting it out in the world gives them a lot of anxiety. So they're going to keep kind of sabotaging the process because they can't finish. They don't want to finish. Or there's other clients that are so gung-ho and ready to be at the finish line at the very beginning. And just like you were talking about the Eight of Pentacles, it's like, this is a step-by-step, we do one thing at a time here. And so the way that we look at it is, your brand is a tree. So it works with our name for Treebird Branding. So we want you to imagine your brand is a tree, and we're going to start with the roots. And that's where we always want to start. And I think that, when a tree has good, strong roots, we're going to have a nice, big, healthy tree. If we skip this step, you're going to have a crappy little tree, right? So it's part of the overall strategy. It's part of your brand positioning. And the things that we ask to define in that first step is, what is your category of one? What can you claim that no one else can claim? And part of that is, like, I think a lot of when you have an idea, you need to figure out why you're doing it. And it could be because I want to have extra income, or it could be, I want to change the world. I want to keep families together. I want to have awareness, whatever it is. And then there's also, you need to know, like, what is your ultimate goal? And that can be financial. It can be awareness. That should be measurable.
Yeah.
But
And don't you find that people want sort of to have the cake and eat it too? It's like you were saying, like, let's don't grow a crappy little tree. It's sometimes we want, as people, and the way it always comes through in readings is we want to put our foot on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. We're like, we're ready to go, vroom. And then the ego's like, brake. And we're just going, why aren't we moving? And people do that, I'm sure, with you, where it's like, I want this, but my ego says that I can only do this way. And so work with that. And you have to probably communicate to them. You're gonna have to take your foot off the brake and let your mind.
I mean, I feel like you've even done that for me too. Felt like where I'm keeping I have my foot on the brake, I'm trying to remove that anxiety block. But like having that kind of stuff figured out so that you can have your strong roots. You don't skip these steps, you can't just go right. You can't build a website without a brand. You can't have a candle product without a formula. And just keeping in mind those steps that it takes and seeing where you're your own saboteur along the way.
Oh, yes. And when we talk about brands, I mean, a lot of people listening today, might have a business, or many might just be thinking about themselves as an individual. Maybe they're in between. A lot of people I have sessions with are in between. I'm doing this, but I want to be doing this. I have a vision. So when we're talking about brands, your brand, is whatever you are, especially now with social media. It's whatever you're putting out there that represents you. And it doesn't have to be about, this is how I make money or anything like that. It's just a message you're putting out to the world of what you represent, right? Just like when we go out dressed a certain way, this is what I represent.
Yeah. And I think it's also really important that you need to keep in mind that, it is representative of you, but it also needs to represent your audience, and truly knowing who your audience is and knowing what your brand promise is. That's another part of your roots and what they're going to respond to. So if you're we'll just keep talking about candles. If you want to do a $250 price point candle, that's a different audience than a $25 price point candle. And understanding their lifestyle, people's lifestyle, what they care about, is it a gift? Is this something that's truly special to someone that they're getting for themselves? Really putting yourself in their shoes, understanding your, unique methods in order to get there. And then you can start the journey of the actual brand and the logo.
I love how you're talking about value too, like with the candles, because that's something that when we're talking about abundance and aligning with abundance and being in the frequency of letting unlimited abundance in. And that's one thing you and I will talk about this later, but you and I are going to be connecting with people through a workshop where we help people connect with, being in the frequency of that unlimited abundance. Don't put limitations on yourself, especially where your business is concerned, but just in your life. And when you were talking about, are you, aiming to do $25 candle or $250 candle? I know a lot of us have this conditioning it's like when kids are like, I should be this height and I'm not that height, and therefore I'm not, or I should be doing this. And they just think they're falling short, but they don't understand yet that they are an individual. And sometimes we never understand that. It's about the value that you're placing on what you do, and then just trusting and knowing that you're going to connect with the person that places that same value on that. There's something with energy work and with working on ourselves that I've noticed, where if I take a class, it's a free class. Great. I'm glad that I got this. But if I take a class and I really invest in that class, like even more than I think I should, practically, the return I see with myself and my own energy and what I bring to it and what I get out of it and what I grow it into is huge. And that's about what I invested in me. So I imagine with the work you do, making that connection between the person that's offering something and the person that's receiving it, making sure everybody is getting what they are putting in investment wise, because we are so brainwashed to think, no, there's just one scale of value. things are just this much and that much, and anything else is a ripoff, and anything else is, too little or whatever it is. No, it depends on the offerer and the offeree and what it means to them. It's an energy exchange, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why before eggs prices went so up, I would just
Yeah.
buy the most expensive eggs because I was like, well, these are the best ones. And I would drive my husband nuts.
Yeah.
Everything I would look at.
And now you're like, maybe I don't want to pay that much for eggs.
I'm not allowed to buy eggs anymore.
I know through getting to know you that a lot of what you bring to your exchange with people is your intuitive gifts that you're maybe, just now identifying as that, but they always have been intuitive gifts. And how do those show up in your work?
Yeah, that's a new realization. I think that through our work together, I realized that, through our visualization and our understanding of different audiences, that intuition, we can see the future in the brand. We can tell if something's going to work or not. And that sometimes when clients are very rigid and they're not, they only want this specific thing that they want, they're probably not the best fit for us because we're going to give you what you want, but we're also going to give you what you need. Right. And so it's going to go beyond probably what you initially were visioning for the brand, because we don't do anything based on trends. That's not appropriate for at least what we're doing for our clients. We want to build institutions. And so it's so much deeper than that. And I guess this whole time we've been doing intuitive work and had no idea. And
Now you're
so
going to be like, okay, I've seen your vision, and you get the death card, because that is not
like that's out. Or you need a tower. We need to bring it down a bit. Well, the other thing that you said though that I have been repeating, I have stolen this from you, was that we bring businesses into consciousness. And I've been repeating this ever since you said it, and I didn't realize it that this is what we're doing. There's an energy. Jaci Lund, who I am, is completely separate from Treebird Branding. Treebird Branding is its own being, which is that's better for me. That the business is its own thing. I think that it's important to have that separation, and that bringing these businesses into consciousness. There's nothing cooler than that. That other people are responding to. As the brand grows in the tree, like the branches are coming out. That's what people are actually getting to touch and feel and see. They don't really get to see the roots. They get to see some of the trunk. That's your foundational stuff, your website, your logo, your business cards, and all of that. But like as the brand expands and people are experiencing it, the leaves, like everything, that's where things get really, really fun. And that's
the evolution that happens after. Yeah.
We're so focused on the root and the trunk a lot of the times that we don't actually get to enjoy the branches with our clients. We're working on that, and that making sure that we're there to celebrate that too, because that's where things really come to life. That burst of energy in spring, that when your business is launched, it's a big deal.
Yes. And it is a birth, and that part of you that's serving in whatever way you are is growing. And like a child, you have no idea what it's going to grow into. You have no clue what that's going to look like in 3 years, 4 years. You might have some, hope, but then it goes in some other direction. And I know that when we're connecting, the common vision that we share is, my place being helping people understand, like you just described, oh, this thing I do professionally is a spirit intuitive gift. It is my soul connecting with other souls and helping this higher reality to express in whatever ways it is, rather than just reinventing the wheel, doing what our parents and grandparents did, going sort of in a circle. We are elevating continuously, like a spiral staircase that goes up. It goes around and around, but it goes up. It's like somebody made the point the other day that, nothing new is really happening here. And all the new technology, everything, that's the same as when people were, when Leonardo da Vinci was, making new technology. It was always happening, but we're doing it from this higher vantage point with this higher perspective point. And that's what we're doing in our connections. And now just looking at that as this soul mission that we all get to align to do, that we all get to allow our higher selves to, oh, look, my higher self connected with yours. Let's build something together that's on an elevated level, using this combination of our skills, our human expertise, our wisdom, and this other undefinable thing that comes through. And I think the thing that, like you talked about with COVID and the shift in how people work, what that has brought to things is an openness, is a a malleability that we can now go, oh yeah, I can get with that. Like that makes sense, because everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody had their own little version of a breakdown.
Oh yeah.
Over the past 4 years, everybody has had their own little version of a breakdown, and everybody has seen something in themselves that in some way, whether they get woo-woo or not, they want to and need to heal and rise up from. And that's happening. And that's happening through our work, because that's where we spend most of our time. Right. So it's exciting to see the creations that are coming from that. And because of how things are now, it being mostly online, and that's where your art comes in, is being able
Yeah,
to.
it's been really fantastic, this kind of shift. The other piece of it that's really interesting is that I think people are craving human connection, and some of the brands and things that we're doing is really about building community, having human connection. You have to have an online space, of course, but a lot of it is they're wanting to do more in person, uh, you know, experiences for people. If it's, a restaurant, an event, a product, they're wanting to have that face-to-face connection, because we, took it for granted for a while, and it was brutal. It
Mhm.
was taken away.
I know that. And now it's kind of like, oh, look at this cool little like niche thing called getting together in person. Like that. Whoa, that's it. That's
Wild.
what is that? Yeah. And it is, and well, there is an energy and something that can come through in person that, what it requires, what it brings to the table. It brings vulnerability. Because I'll tell you this, when I am recording on video, when it's just me and spirit and the guides and the video camera, and the video camera, because I'm that old, when that's happening, there is a directness with spirit. I actually enjoy it a lot, because there's no egos involved. I'm just giving you your messages. You're not looking at me. You're not judging me as a person. I'm just giving you these messages like I'm a mailman from spirit. And I kind of like that, me and my ego self. I'm like, good. I like being anonymous and out of the picture. That's great. And that's what we do online, and that's the great version of it. The poor version is people being awful to each other anonymously and being, ugly in ways they would not face to face. And expressing raw just ego, maliciousness in ways that they would not face to face. And so what we're rediscovering is, oh, when we get together in person, we bring this whole other element, which is our human selves out of ego, our human selves going, man, my ego really got a beat down this last few years. So let me bring this vulnerable being to the table. Are you going to do that too? Great. Let's get together and create something with that. And that's when the physical magic can come in. I mean, we can build a whole virtual world all we want, and it's wonderful. But like you said, until we bring our human physical selves to the literal physical table, nothing in the physical world is going to change. And that's what we're doing next, is allowing our physical world to change to reflect what we have so ambitiously been building virtually, right?
Yeah, I remember one of our clients, she's actually launching today. And she's having a little bit of a mentee bee. She's got a lot of anxiety about it. And it's put me 10 years ago is when we launched. Mm-hmm. And it's put me back in the place where I remember I was sitting in my office having a complete and total meltdown. And because it was so vulnerable, because I had this secret for so long that I was going to do this, that I was going to launch this business, putting it out there, letting people, coming to the table, literally telling people about it, I lost it. And then, of course,
it's like that line in Carrie where it's like, they're all going to laugh at you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then the response was so supportive. And that's the thing too, when you put yourself out there, when you have an idea like this, I always like to say, don't tell people about it. And it's like total infancy. They say, like, don't talk about your pregnancy in the first 3 months. Right. Don't talk about your brand until launch day, because people are going to muddy your waters and they're going to make you second guess yourself. You know what you're doing. You have the intuition, you have, your core people that are helping you to do that, and then don't tell anybody else. Yeah. When you go live with your brand, you will be shocked the amount of support that you get. When I went live, I had clients coming out of the woodwork that were asking for work just because they knew they wanted to keep me busy because they were being supportive.
Right.
And so like, it was just amazing, the response. And I'm so glad I did it, but boy, it was tough.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable to come out.
Yeah. And now what's happening is there are so many of us who are hearing, like if you're listening to this podcast, you're hearing a call and a layer of communication from spirit and from other people and within yourself that not everyone is hearing. I mean, it's like you find this special radio station that you're like, yeah, you got to wiggle the dial, but then you get it, and it's the best radio station. And then somebody's like, I can't find that radio station you're talking about. Like not everybody can access it. So what you're doing when you're one of these people, and like I said, if you're hearing this, is you are learning how, and you're being led into sharing that, but it does take, you're a pioneer. So it does take that guts, the bravery you're talking about to say, all right, here I go, because it doesn't look like things that have been done a million times before. This is creation happening. This is spirit coming in and going, you're pregnant with it, you're pregnant with it, you're pregnant with it, now go and give birth. And we're giving birth and going, ooh, babies have never looked like this before. What if they look at my baby and they're like, that's a weird looking baby? But just trust that, that people are going to look at this baby and see what spirit intends them to see.
That's what's fun about it too. Like, I like the way you put it about this secret radio station, because anyone that has made this step before in life also came out of the woodwork to support us, because entrepreneurs support entrepreneurs. We know what it's like on that journey. The second I see someone that has tuned into this station, I'm on them. I am ready for that support, because it is a special place. It's when you kind of come out that you're, into the spirit world. And then all of a sudden, once you start putting it out there, all these other people around you start coming out too. And you're like, oh, we're in this together. It's really great, because sometimes there is a loneliness to being an entrepreneur, because, if you're a solo entrepreneur, you don't have anyone to talk to. If you have employees like I do, there's certain things that I'm like, I'm not going to talk to my employees about this. I don't want them to know I'm worried about this. Right. And there's no one else that that's like a contemporary that has a similar business to me. So something that I've done recently is I've joined a networking group for just entrepreneurs, and I'm realizing like we are all on this radio station, and it's so nice. So when other people come out of the woodwork and you find people that are on your radio station, keep them and make those in-person connections. It's so valuable, because it does get lonely.
Yeah. And first, the first step is that believing in yourself. Often I'm shown the vision of you're on these trapeze bars, and they'd have the you're hanging by your knees and you're swinging on the trapeze, and you're going to have to let go by your legs and like flip and grab the arms of the next person. You can't grab the arms of the next person and then let go. Like you have to do the little flippy. And that's kind of what it's like. It's like we're going, hey, spirit, can you please go ahead and show me that this is going to be great and this is going to work, and give me guarantee, and then I'll do it. And spirit's like, no, it doesn't work that way, because we want you to. It'd be like trying to teach your child to walk by always holding their hands. You have to like let them go. So that step of saying, okay, I am going to share this part of me with the world. I am going to let this be birthed. And then having that confidence of I'm letting go. That's what actually brings all the support you're talking about, because that sends out like a bat signal. Okay, everyone, I'm up on this frequency. Let's be here together. And then the answer is loud and clear. So no matter what you're doing, just keep emitting that signal, even if you are has nothing to do with business and you're just lonely and you just want to connect. Keep putting out that signal of, I'm envisioning this is the frequency I want to connect with. And I know there are people who hold this, and they're going to be brought to me in ways my mind can't figure out.
Yeah. I'm stealing this metaphor, by the way, the trapeze one.
Do it.
You always give me a good one. I'm stealing
everything I say belongs to spirit. Everything I say belongs to spirit. So you take it.
Yeah. I'll be using that one. I'll use it today and I'll report back.
Good. And it's interesting that this card I'm going to describe, but I'm going to show you, Jaci, is one that's been coming out a lot, and it's called Sacrifice. And this message has actually come out strongly today. and lately, and also whenever you're listening to this, but it's about surrender, which is the Hangman. But in this card, it's this beautiful woman. She's just sort of like willingly putting her hands behind her head, like, okay, spirit, everything I have belongs to you. And this big rainbow is shining down on her. And it's like when you do everything you do in kind of this offering up of, I'm offering this up knowing that it's also connecting me with abundance, with, I'm not doing it as like a just check, I don't need anything. I'm doing it as I have faith that when I do this, I'm going to be supported. Now I am letting go of how my mind says that support has to look. I am letting go of, well, it has to be this amount of money from this place. No, got to let go of all that. But I'm doing it with the knowing, not the expectation, but the knowing that when I plug in to that highest reality of me, the highest reality of everything I can receive is going to come to me. And you do have to allow a minute for spirit to show you that. It's not instant. It's definitely not proactive. It's not going to be shown to you beforehand, but it will be shown to you as a response. It's like doing an echo. It's like, hello. And then eventually you're going to hear the hello, but you do have to kind of do that faith and listen. So that's a big message right now for whoever's listening. And ask for that reassurance. Like, people like you, JC, and people I'm connected to, they are always my confirmation. When I ask spirit in the morning, like, please just show me today that you're with me, you're supporting me, I'm on the right path. I get the messages through the people. Like, well, look, you're connecting with this person today. Well, look, this person, said this. Even just going to a coffee shop and having, a connection with a stranger can be confirmation. I'm telling you. One day I was having the roughest day, and I was just walking down the street in my high heels, trying to take myself out, and this man, just randomly, this kind man, he was like kind of rough looking, and he just said, man, I don't know how you do that, wearing those shoes and this cold, and I don't know how you do it. And I looked at him, and I was having a hard time and a hard day, and I said, well, it's hard. And he goes, well, you're really tough. And he wasn't sarcastic at all. He was genuine, and I needed that. And that man, like, I will never forget that exchange, because it was spirit coming through and going, I see you. Not about the shoes, but about I see you. And you can access that anywhere. You do not need, if you're like, well, I don't talk to anybody, that's okay. Spirit will find a way. It'll come through a TV show. It'll come through a song. Just open yourself up to it. It'll come from a conversation you hear from a stranger walking down the street. It does not matter. Spirit will reach you. And I just went on a little trip that way, but I'm sure that happens every time you're working on anything you touch. It just all ripples back, and you feel that connection, that energy.
Yeah, if you're tuned in to look for the signs, you're going to find them, and you'll get that confirmation that you're going in the right path.
And the thing we're practicing doing now is not excluding our work from that. Because I can't tell you how many people I connect with where they're like, but this is my work, and I get to do this, like, connecting stuff, or this creative stuff, this artistic stuff, the stuff I really care about in my spare time, maybe. Or, and it's like, no, that you don't need to exclude your work from this. When you're bringing all of you to your work, hey, if it's not a fit, that tower, like you said, will happen. You will be kicked out. You will move to something else that is a fit. But going ahead and pledging, like, this is what I'm going to put my energy into, is what has to happen. So for people who connect with this, there are a couple things that, JC and I are going to be working together. We're going to be working in partnership to offer this to people who are feeling into how they want to take their work to the next level, their business to the next level this way. And you can contact either of us to learn more about that. And then also we're going to do a workshop on it in March that we'll be putting invitations out for. That's going to be, that we're excited about, where you can learn about making that connection between your business, your work, and your gifts. Right, JC?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think I guess, for me as an entrepreneur, anytime I'm, doing my like daily cards, I'm asking about work. So it does work for, in business. And if you're wanting to start something, it's very helpful. And yeah, I'm really excited about what we have to offer, for in future workshops and things with people that we want to connect with and provide some guidance to just help take that fear, that anxiety away, to help you to have that path. I think that, again, the Eight of Pentacles card you mentioned is perfect because everyone's path is different. And so to be able to give folks like us that guidance, I'm really looking forward to it. Because also, I love people on this radio frequency. They're the best.
I know it really is. And so when people want to learn more about you, they can go to treebirdbranding.com.
Yep.
And they will see everything that you're talking about, everything that we're talking about. And, just if you have any questions or anything, you can always message me. You'll see how to message Jaci on there. And okay, Jaci, we're going to close with what I like to do is pull a card for you, or pull a card that I'm going to ask you to tell me what it means to you.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you're gonna give a reading. It can be in whatever direction you want it to go, just what you're getting from this that I show you. And it doesn't have to be, it can be about whatever you want. So this says 7 at the top, it's red, and it says practice and planning, and it has 2 columns with a light streaming down. So this would be the 7 of Pentacles.
Well, that's, I feel like, exactly what we're talking about today. And well, okay, so this is what it means to me, is that one of the things that I wish that every single client knew was that they're going to screw up their brand by not being consistent, and that you need to be repetitive to the point of boredom, and that your brand needs to be so consistent, practiced, and planned that that's where people can relate to it. That's where you have your credibility and trust. So that's what that card means to me.
That's awesome. And that in the traditional tarot, this would look like someone watering a garden, that they're just, like you said, diligently growing. And they're every day, I water this garden. Every day I water this garden. And they don't deviate from that. So I love that you got that, even though this doesn't even look like that traditional 7 of Pentacles. That's amazing. So you got that meaning just right, organically. And yeah, love it. Yes. Oh, so yeah, I will be expecting you to break out the tarot in your client meetings pretty soon, because that's just going to be the next step.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about that. And what we've talked about too is like bringing more clients in that have the spirit, that are spiritually minded. Wouldn't that be such a great gift to us? And so far, yes, it's really helped us to understand some of our clients. And I'm looking forward to the future, really.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you for being here with me.
It was my pleasure.
All right.